All right, welcome everybody. This is the first.
Hey, whoa.
What?
Wait, I don't want to be drinking my soda.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
This is totally chill. Don't worry
Chill.
about it. So, welcome everybody. Mike's super uncomfortable right now
This is not what Mike does.
because the microphone is really loud in his ears ish.
Yeah, I'm literally having to hear what everyone else in the audience hears on a weekly basis. So really, I'm sorry. I think that's what I want to say right now.
It's not bad.
It's something.
Well, so we decided probably 3 weeks ago that we wanted to communicate more with everybody.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's really difficult to communicate effectively when there's just so much noise out there. And so what we thought that we may be completely wrong. The more people will watch a conversation, or maybe they won't.
Like my mom and your mom. That's more people.
They get 30 seconds and I'm out. But there's so much ambiguity right now, not only in our culture, but that kind of trickles down, right? So it's not like we're trying to keep any information from our wonderful church family, but it's been a couple months of like, what do we do?
Yeah.
So I had a few questions for you.
Yeah, for sure.
First one I would say would be just kind of on a personal level, where are you at with all of this? Leadership challenges, personal challenges. What are you learning from this? We say, I say, happies and crappies.
Someone says.
So someone says this is a Lake Sawyer thing now.
Yeah.
So what are your happies and what are your crappies?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, you hit on it. Like, this is something you never prepare for. Like, the joke is they don't teach us in seminary, right? Like, you don't go to school to how to navigate a pandemic.
COVID-19 course? That's not a thing.
I skipped that one. That was like Ministry 901. And
Whoops.
I stopped well before that. But no, I think it's been a season filled with obstacles, hurdles, but opportunity as well. And so there's parts that I love about that. And so I think part of from a professional standpoint, the happy part is this unique opportunity, that there's a lot that's, the downside of we're not been able to gather together, but this has forced us in an online capacity in ways that we hadn't thought about before this or weren't really prepared to do before this. And so to see some of that, to be able to get out and to reach more people. One of the things I've heard from a handful of people is it's never been easier to invite their friends and their family to church.
That is true.
It's just share a link or join me in this chat channel. And so that's been really cool and to kind of help navigate some of that. So that's probably been the happy part from a professional. And the crappy part is we're all relational people.
Yeah.
And it's been super hard just not seeing church people. One of my favorite joys is when I run into church people in the supermarket or wherever we are, and we're talking through our mask, fogging up our glasses, is there's no such thing as a short conversation anymore, right? When we see people we know, it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, because we just desire, we're made for those, deep relationships.
Well, you're an extrovert too.
And I'm a little bit of an extrovert, yes.
So when you're because I'm an introvert, I'm I probably had maybe 2 months before I was okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it'd be for an extrovert.
Yeah, my wife is can you go talk to somebody else?
Please,
I get home on a weekend or at the end of the day, and it's she's like, I don't need you. The kids have been taking up all of her talk time. But yeah, no. So I feel the crappy from a professional standpoint has just been missing the church, missing our people, and at the same time, just really the gamut of emotions that this season has brought about. Not just what's been going on with COVID-19, but even what's been happening over the last couple of weeks with George Floyd's death and, a lot of the protesting. And so it's just been a full gamut of emotions. I think personally, my family, we've navigated this season a lot better than I thought I would, or we would.
That's good.
My kids, they're asking, can we just be homeschooled now? And I think mom and I are no, teachers are really good. Go make new teachers next year. Do this, do it again. And so that's been good though, to kind of have them thrive in this season. Even for us, it's just been a lot of family time. We can get really busy and we are still really busy, but without other things being open or opportunities to do, it's, you can't just run out and go do something that maybe just fills Mike's bucket. Now we're doing things that collectively fill our family's bucket. So I've eaten way too much popcorn, Watched a lot of movies I wouldn't otherwise choose to watch.
Yeah.
But I took the kids fishing this past weekend, so it was fun to get out on the lake. And we weren't really fishing. We're more like just throwing bait off hooks into the water or throwing baits at trees. But anyways, it was good. So
It's something.
yeah. So overall, I really feel like we have navigated this season better than I thought we would have. Going in, the extrovert in me was like, this is going to be the worst thing ever. And it's like, oh, okay. I mean, this is still pretty awful, but it's cool to see my family just kind of thrive in it.
Well, going off the ambiguity piece, that's been, I think, the hardest for us, is at least, and maybe that's everybody's issue, is not knowing. And I think even our state government doesn't know, and it's hard because then we even hear from unfortunately, this has been politicized, which I don't know how we politicize a virus, but we've accomplished it.
We've done it. Go world.
we did it, guys. Just to try to figure out what actually is going on.
Yeah.
Because I think we're all good humans, and we don't want other people to get sick. But then we hear like these polar opposite. So has the ambiguity been for you? Has that been difficult for you to wrestle with?
Yeah. I mean, I think, there became a certain point where it's like, you just acknowledge that things are going to be ambiguous, right? Like, This is just how it is. I think early on, I wanted everything to be crystal clear. There's a part of me that I just enjoy black and white. Like black and white, just tell me what it is, and then we'll pivot, we'll comply, we'll do what we need to do. And so some of the ambiguity is just like, it was a bit much. But I think as this kind of has gone on, you just kind of accept that as normative behavior. I think the hard part is, and some of that's changed a little bit, but early on, things were changing so rapidly.
Right.
Like that literally, we sat down as an eldership, made a decision on a Tuesday night. And by Wednesday morning, everything that we decided was no longer
changed.
Yeah, it had changed. And it's like the realization that we can't keep up with how fast things are changing.
Right.
And so now we're on the back end of it and things are changing at a slower pace, but they're still changing enough. And so it's hard to be definitive on certain things. There's that ambiguity piece. It's like, well, I think this is what we should do in this phase or in this season, but that can change, and it has changed.
Yeah.
Again and again.
Right. I think it's important to look through, like when Isaiah spoke, I think he was talking about looking through the lens of the George Floyd topic and just through the eyes from the kingdom perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's been, has sustained me at least, is to avoid the political back and forth. Is sometimes the most loving thing we can do feels really uncomfortable or seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't enjoy wearing a mask in the store. But if that's the most loving thing that we can do for our neighbors, then we should do it. Now, as far as is there a reason scientifically and all that stuff, I don't know that
Yeah, I'm not smart enough for that stuff.
Like I'm just not there.
Yeah.
I'm not there. Which leads to my next question. From a leadership perspective, I mean, we've been having conversations. Has this been 3 months?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
It's like Groundhog Day.
It's the Twilight Zone.
Have you ever seen that movie, Groundhog Day?
Oh, yes.
Ned?
Yeah, Bill Murray.
Ned Ryerson.
He's so good.
So, man, it's been 3 months of Groundhog Day. But from a leadership perspective, what have been, I know you touched on it a bit, but what are the real challenges, hurdles? Because you touched on it earlier about they don't teach this in school.
Yeah.
Any school, especially Bible colleges. So what are the things that you're faced with now as a lead pastor? You've been a lead pastor. You're coming up on 2 years here, right?
2 years next month.
So this was, you've got quite the story to tell, right?
Yeah.
Hey, what did you do in your first couple of years at church? So what are the new things that have been thrown at your way, and what are the things that are like really forcing you to think a lot harder and pray a lot harder than you typically would?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think you talk about the kingdom mindset and how do we navigate not just this season but every season as kingdom people. And one of the things we say a lot about here is at Lake Sawyer, we're a church for everyone.
Yeah, and
we're for everyone because we believe everyone should know and follow Jesus. They should find and follow Jesus. And so, like, how do we help engage people? How do we help meet people where they're at to then walk with them? And so I think part of it is, as we navigate the season as a church and individuals, how do we do so in a way that upholds the testimony of the Lord that we believe in? Like, how do we walk as good citizens of the kingdom, but also as good earthly citizens, to have an opportunity to connect and to lead people into that life-giving relationship with Jesus. So I think that's the important piece to me is like, again, I'm so like some of the scientific stuff is just so far beyond me. Like, you know, they could say in 3 weeks, I need to wear a sock around my ears. And I'd be like, okay, like, you know, like someone told me to wear a sock around my ears. So
you might have just started something.
I might have just started something. I'm sorry to
social media campaign.
So, I mean, there's a little bit of like, I'm just going to trust people who are, this is what they do. This is, you know, and I understand there's differentiating opinions, and you get one scientist or infectious disease doctor will say this and another doctor will say this. And like, and I'm just like, I'm going to do what I can to help align the best way I can. You know, but from a church perspective, yeah, like the church by its nature is highly relational. Like this is everything we do is built around face-to-face interaction.
And that's an understatement.
And yeah. And it like, not just like Lake Sawyer church, like the church for generations has been built around human interaction. And so that's a immediate pivot. Like suddenly you can't, like my running joke, and people are like, you shouldn't joke about this, but it's like, I'm like, overnight I became a televangelist. Like I'm just on TV. My kids are like, Dad's a YouTube star. Like, you know, check out my dad, look at his YouTube channel. And I'm like, I'm not an influencer here. This is not what I got going on. But like, that's kind of like, that's what happened. Right. And like, suddenly I'm leading a church that, like many other pastors, who doesn't have the ability to meet. Like we can't gather together.
Yeah.
But you know, I think like in that moment or in that season, and in prayerful times, it's like God really said to me, like this is not about physical buildings. Like this is not about being even like face to face. Like, I mean, we are the church. We are not bound by any location. That the church is one, the church is united at its best, and it's people leveraging who God has made them to be to influence other people. And so I think part of it became like, well, how do we help put our people on mission instead of how do we help gather our people to help encourage and support them? And so a lot of what we've been trying to do over the last couple months has been that, like, how do we put you on mission? It's why we did the toy drive with Black Diamond Backpack program. It's why we did the food drive with what we have going on the Black Diamond Community Center. It's why over the last month we've encouraged people to buy and distribute face masks or to thank frontline workers with donuts. And that's like, for me, that was like the craziest thing. Like we had my nephew and niece in town, so we bought 4 half dozens of donuts, and we were just out dropping it off, thanking people. We chased down a bus driver to be able to give away. It was crazy. Like it was like, we were running and the bus driver was probably freaked out. Like, why are these people running after me? So like, but like those things, like to thank frontline workers, to thank the incredible workers at Vine Maple Place who are caring for families who are on the verge of homelessness or they're homeless. Like how do we as a church mobilize to be a force for good in our community? Because especially in a season like this, probably in every season, but it's more acute in this season, it's like there are people hurting. There are people who have needs, and we as a church have the greatest message to give, but we also have an opportunity to meet people where they're at before we begin to give them that message. And so that was I just really felt like God was just encouraging me to pivot and to really focus on not just gathering the church, but mobilizing and releasing. And so, that's been interesting because, in a disconnected season, I don't know if people are doing it. I hope
the accountability, the in-person accountability is gone.
No, absolutely. And so that's where it's like every person taking ownership of their own faith journey. Like we're here to encourage, to resource, but will they take ownership of it? And then will they go out and use what God has given them to impact someone else? And so, and we hear stories. That's the cool thing. And like if people are tuning in and like they're doing some of this, drop me an email, send me a great note, because this is the stuff to know whether we're missing the mark or or we're hitting it. And like I've heard like even a staff member today in staff meeting was like, I met my neighbor. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's absolutely incredible, because these are the kind of things that we want to do. Like we got to know our neighbors before we can love our neighbors, before we can be a force for good in our neighborhood. So so if people are tuning in, we would love to know like if what we're doing is really resonating or it's helping people be the hands and feet of Jesus in their community.
Yeah. And I think you just touched on it. It's really important for us to know if there's something we can do that we're not doing.
Yeah.
to help equip you.
Yeah.
We've heard for a long time this is kind of a mantra we've lived by, or a philosophy we lived by. If Lake Sawyer, this building, closed down, which is not happening. The building is not closing.
Right.
It's all good. The bill's been paid. We're good. But if our little pocket here in the woods disappeared, would Lake Sawyer still be a thing?
Yeah.
Or would we be missed?
Yeah.
Not necessarily because of this property back here, but because, you're a Lake Sawyer person.
Yeah.
And we know you love our community. I think that's really cool.
Oh yeah. I mean, like you absolutely hit it. Like every pastor, that was like the pastor's running mantra.
Right.
Like if the church closed down tomorrow,
Yeah.
would the community know that we were gone? And then the church closed down and we're like, oh no.
There's things. Yeah.
We actually
What
have
generation has had to deal with that?
Right. So, but I think, that's like what we've tried to live out. Like I hope the community would know and grieve the absence of the people of Lake Sawyer being the people of God in our community. And I think that's where we are seeing some cool things happen. We are seeing people step out of their comfort zone, and I think that's been the thing for me that has really just been an encouragement, is even through this season of unknown. Like there is, in every season that we've been through as a church, at least as long as I've been here, there is someone else who's been ahead of us.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I can learn from that someone else, or like, hey, this is good. I can ask for guidance. So, COVID hits and you're like, hey, what are you guys doing? And everyone's like, I don't know. I don't. No one knows.
No.
And so even how you navigate that season, it's a little bit of like, well, I hope this is going to go good. Like, and very transparently, it was like with the staff, like, hey, like, I don't know what our resources are going to look like over the next 2 months, 3 months. I know that we have some amazing people here who are committed to what we're doing, who want to help people find and follow Jesus. But you don't know, right? Like, you don't know who's going to be engaging with you online. You don't know and so to now be 3 months in and to see the ongoing generosity of people really just blow us out of the water. Like, the faithfulness of our people to continually invest in the ministry here, which allows us to reach more people. And it's like, we're seeing some of the fruits of that. Like I meet people in the grocery store or elsewhere. Like I was at the, where was I the other day? Gosh, this is bad. This is the unscripted part.
No, that's okay.
But it was like literally like, it was the market. And I was asking for some canker sore medicine because my daughter had a canker sore. And so, the lady came out and she helped me find the canker sore medicine. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. She's like, thank you very much, Mike. I was like, I'm not wearing the name badge, right?
Right.
And it's just like, here are these people, like, I don't know who they are, but people who have started to engage with us online who, like, in this season, people are struggling. People are wondering, like, where do I turn to? People have started engaging with us that have never been on this campus. Like, not just one. Like, there are dozens of people that I know over the last 3 months who don't even know what Lake Sawyer's building looks like. Like, they've never stepped foot on this property.
Yep.
But this has become their church home.
That's been fun, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, personally, my mom watches. My mom lives in Arizona most of the time.
Yeah.
So for her, she's even in the chat window. I say, hi, mommy.
Yeah.
Just supporting my baby boy. Oh, gosh. I just own it. It is what it is. But that's one cool thing is like mom can now watch anywhere because we are experiencing out of state viewership.
Totally.
That we could not do. Well, we could, but we didn't think that was the best place to put resources.
Yeah.
But now we're like forced with this, like, okay, we have to do this. But then the fruits of that have been really incredible.
Oh, absolutely. And like, there is those like out of state moments and those people we're connecting with, but it's like even the pieces that I never realized in state. Like,
oh yeah.
I encountered a person while I was getting my teeth cleaned and they were like, I've been saying I was going to come to your church for a long time and I just haven't been in there. Sundays are crazy, but I've been really enjoying this series. And it's like, oh, like,
sweet.
You've been joining with us? And it's like, yeah, like it's online. I just put it on and we're able to watch church. And so like, that's where it's like these really cool moments where it's like, okay, God is using technology to get his message out to people.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And it's like, and it's not just about gathering people on the weekend, right? Like we have seen, this is crazy. Like we have seen more first-time givers in this COVID season, at least the first part of it, than we like normally ever see. And it's people like, hey, I want to invest in something. I want to be a part of something bigger, or even like getting into groups. Like we've seen people who've never done anything here, engage in community, beginning to serve. Like some of the stories we have heard from this For Everyone campaign, it's like people who have never done anything else here who are dropping donuts and other things. So
it's incredible. Cool. Yeah, I want to say that I'm not surprised by the fruits.
Yeah,
because that's
God.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
right.
I know you and I have been doing this for 20 years ish.
Yeah,
and so
that's crazy that we started at 5.
Cute. We're both 40 now.
I know.
I just turned 40.
We're 80 together.
Yeah, my knees hurt so much worse.
I get you. My back suddenly.
But let's take a look back, even just at our journey as being Christ followers, to see how God has provided in ways that we never thought would be.
Yeah.
And so I did want to ask you, and there's kind of like one major elephant in the room we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
It's here. We see it. One, I think is really important for us and for you to speak into is just kind of give us a status report on how things are going. Because as much as we're asking for people to give us feedback, there may be a layer where people who are sacrificing continue to give into this organization, mainly because of their faith, right? I think it's really important for them to hear, how are we doing? Where are we at? In multiple different levels. Yeah. Can you speak into that a little bit?
Yeah, and I think like I just kind of reiterate some of what I said. Like we're doing good. We're doing really good, and I think it's because of people's faithfulness, their commitment to what we're doing here at Lake Sawyer, because they know that when they invest here, lives are being changed. I think like that's probably as a pastor in the moment the season hit, it was like oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And that's been one of the greatest blessings, is for our people to continue to invest, to step up their investment so that we can continue doing what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And so that's been super encouraging. And like I mentioned a little bit, like people who have never served before, people getting in groups, like everything pivots on a dime, right? Like we just started short-term groups, and they were having some great traction. People were liking, tackling a relevant topic, doing it here on campus. And suddenly it's like, nope. But we launched 2 short-term virtual groups. And we had people sign up to be a part of it, going through Titus, and so that's been kind of cool to see people engage there who hadn't engaged before. Like I said, serving.
Yeah,
that's been neat. I think like you talk about kind of like this new frontier, and I wouldn't say the internet's new by any means.
No,
but like our church specifically, our investment and leveraging technology to get God's message out, it's newer for us. But you see that it's like what God does, right? Like, Gutenberg developed the press, and the Bible became the most printed and distributed book in the history of the world. And if it wasn't for the press, that wouldn't have happened. If it wasn't for the advent of technology, now God is leveraging this season to get out his message about his son to more people in more places than ever before. And part of the cool thing is, as a church, we've been able to join with what God's doing to impact our community, but also to be a tool for our people to go and share with other people around this country. And like every weekend we log in, it's like, oh, Idaho and like Texas and California and Arizona. And so like I would just say, in almost every way, I've just been blown away in this season through what God's been able to do through our church, through the generosity of people. Like if the status report is it's good because the God we serve is good and our people are faithful. And so thank you so much to our people, because
it's been great.
It's been cool to see the impact and the ongoing investment. It's been encouragement.
Well, I thought a great move that you made was, so people hear this, that here at the building, we're not continuing as normal. In fact, for several months, as it has been, I mean, you made the call like, hey, don't come into the building to turn the electricity on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We transferred all the electrical costs to you. Just you work at home. You can pay the electrical bills.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, because that's like, again, when this happened, the unknown. And of course, like, I mean, if you people out there listen in, they own a business, they understand. But even if those of us who pay an electric bill every month, that cost. Yeah. And so it's like, what are we investing in electricity? What are we investing in heating and cooling? Like those were things early on. And even to this point, like we're still only around the office for, what we call essential duties. We're just trying to be wise and good stewards of the resources people have, because I would rather save money on electrical cost to invest it in the message of Jesus getting to people,
right,
than my office having like.
Well, I also think it was a good idea, which you felt slowed down. Like I can speak that, we became kind of militant on spending too.
Yeah.
To where, do we have to have this? Is this critical to whatever we happen to be doing?
Right.
Because we've done church so much on site that we've had to do things that are different, to invest in just even doing this podcast. You have a mic in front of you that we didn't have before.
Right.
Right. So I think it's been an adjustment, but I think it's been a really healthy adjustment. And I think it's really important for people to know that this wasn't just like, hey, we're going to continue just to keep on doing what we're doing, and people working in the office and, the heating or air conditioning, depending on the day. Washington's kind of funny. is on and cranked. Like, so it's been really good.
Yeah.
So, all right. So here goes.
Yeah.
We're going to get to the elephant in the room. Let's talk about reentry. And I really want you to hit about why we're calling it reentry, instead of the church is open now.
Yeah.
And what does that look like? Because this has been a conversation that we've been having, several of us and staff, of course, have been having for a month as things have kind of opened up a bit.
Right.
So can you speak into that? What's the plan, knowing full well that this plan may change because our plans are based upon what state government is doing at some level.
Yeah.
So hit it.
Okay.
Here we go.
So I think one of the reasons why we're calling it reentry is because we believe strongly that the church is never closed.
Right.
Like, and I've already talked about that. Like, if we've closed, then we wouldn't be reaching people we've never reached before. And if we had closed, then we wouldn't be serving our community. We wouldn't be thinking frontline workers. Like, if the church had closed, I'd have spent the last 3 months in Hawaii. Like, I'd have been on vacation, right? Like,
right.
Maybe not Hawaii. I don't know. Like, that's not really my jam. Maybe like Mexico,
right.
Some chips and guac. But like we're not closed. And every single week we get together as a team and we're thinking, how do we help our people? How do we mobilize our people? How do we continually be the church dispersed? And so we don't ever want to even consider any language that talks about reopening, because I think that diminishes all of the hard work that our people have done to be the hands and feet of Jesus. Mm-hmm. And so we're not reopening. We've never closed. The church has been here. It's been active. The word of God has been getting out. But we're talking about how do we re-enter into this space, because this is our physical building. This is a place that has been home for Lake Sawyer for 15 years. This is a place that's near and dear to our heart. Getting our people together is near and dear to our heart, but it's not reopening, it's reentry. So that's probably, that's very strategically why we chose those terms, because we don't want to diminish what God has been doing in this season. And so we've been open, we're going to continue to open, but we're going to talk about reentry. And you kind of mentioned this a little bit, like things are constantly changing and moving.
Oh man.
And so even as we had some conversations initially about what does it look like for us to re-enter our services here on campus, we were tracking okay, we're in phase 1 right now. When phase 2 happens, then this is what we'll do in phase 2. And then it was we're not going to get to phase 2. So we made up phase 1.5.
Yeah,
and phase 1.5 changed phase 1 and then created 1.5. And I'm kind of half joking, but serious. I don't think we're ever going to get to 2. We're going to go phase 1.6, 1.7, 1.71,
quite possible
1.8. So there's a little bit where as a staff and even as an eldership, we're trying to learn, to pivot, and to make the decisions based off the criteria that we talked about that help us re-enter well into this facility. And so one of the nice things, I'm grateful for the governor and his willingness to open up churches in a way that previously had not, and other organizations don't. We have the ability to meet outside in a larger group, which again, that's a unique church thing. And so that's really what the first phase of re-entry is going to look like. I don't necessarily have a date of when we'll be inside this building, but we do want to tell people starting July 19th, we're gonna have services here on site. They'll be outside. They'll look different.
Yeah.
But I know for people who are eager to get back together, eager to get here on the property, eager to see other people and to be at a live worship service, that's going to be something that really connects with them. So July 19th is when we're going to be hosting our first service, rain or shine. I think that goes without saying in the state of Washington, rain with the possibility of some shine.
But it's in July. So I've been told after July 4th, it's on. Like no, well, there's rain, but not nearly as much.
Yeah, apparently July 5th is the day.
Is it?
I somehow, God knows that after we celebrate
it's like a switch.
the 4th of July, then the sun comes out. But so, but there's, even with that, it's probably not going to be the kind of service that people like we used to do.
Yeah.
Because there's just certain things in the season that we have to comply with. And so we're going to have registration, and we're still figuring this stuff out. Like, we'll have the registration. There'll be limited number of seats that can attend that service. Again, through all of this, I think this was important for our people to understand. Like, we're committed to continually getting the message of Jesus out, getting our services out, whether you're coming here to watch them live or if you're at home online. Like, this is not, we're going to do this July 19th. And if you're at home and you don't want to come in person, then too bad, you can do something else. Like, we're going to make sure you have a service at home while we're also doing something here. So we're kind of excited about that.
Yeah, we are.
Someone's going to say kind of excited, and probably kind of excited because there are a ton of things that we're processing through and preparing to open, because it's a unique environment where we're going to continue to have to adhere to social distancing and make sure that we're doing our best to ensure that it's like when I said, one of our principles, that we're going to not do anything that's going to jeopardize our witness with our community or put people unduly at risk.
Right.
And so we're trying to navigate that and create this unique opportunity for our people to regather here on campus.
Yeah, and it will be cumbersome. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. It'll be cumbersome. So we've even talked logistically on where do we even do this? How do we encourage people to still wear masks and social distance and
hazmat suits?
Well, yeah, I already have mine on order. That's how I go grocery shopping. There's just a big, giant yellow man walking around. But yeah, the challenges of this are unprecedented. So we just, if you want to come, we want you to come, but know that there's a registration, because we can only have so many people. Yeah,
we can only have 100 people, including kids, including volunteers, not including staff, gather together on our property right now.
Yeah. But just to reiterate, just so everybody knows at home, we're still going to be producing the online content.
Yep.
So that's not going away. This is just an add-on, because we really felt like, though all the online presence has been incredibly fruitful, nothing can replace, in-person community.
Yeah.
And so that's a value. Of course, that's a value for us. So how do we do it in a way that is honoring?
Yeah. And I think I would even maybe take a one step further, and maybe to give credit to you and your team, is not only are we committed to doing online content in this season, like as a church, we've made the commitment that we'll continue to provide online content in every season. Yeah. Like moving forward, this is like something we do now.
Yeah, we just do.
We do. And so your team has been hard at work pivoting and getting us ready to be able to do that, so that, 2 years from now, if you're sitting at home and you want to invite your friend over for church because they're going to be more comfortable coming into your living room while you make them breakfast and enjoy church together, you're going to have that ability.
Yeah.
Because that's an investment we believe is good for the kingdom. It's good for our people, and it helps get the gospel message out. So we're excited, even as we regather, to have this new part about who we are as a church that will continue on even as we continue to gather together.
Yeah. Well, we were hoping this would go 20 minutes.
Yeah, we're like 40. 60.
We blew. I just I know this is going to go a lot longer, but I think it was really important for us to hear from you on just kind of things that are cooking outside of just the message and then a brief social media video. So we hope you all have enjoyed this. If you haven't, we apologize.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
We will be able to tell who clicked off and like.
It's true. The thing is, I'm just a pastor. I like to talk. So you could have just do this and it'd be therapeutic, even if it doesn't go to anybody.
Yeah.
Like if you just make me think
It's
I'm
been
talking
therapy.
to somebody. Like
It's been therapy. Wow. So we'll get, as a church, we'll get more details out about the 19th. Or we're trying to get ahead of it. There's a whole lot of logistical things that got to happen on the back end for us to be able to do it. But be praying for that, everyone. Be praying for it. Be praying that people are pumped to come back, too, which I think they are.
Yeah.
Right. And then I would just say let's just be praying for the staff and eldership as we continue to navigate this really squirrely time.
Yeah, totally. And I think the only thing I'd add onto this is people have asked me, what do we pray for in the season? How can we come alongside the staff or the eldership in the season? And I think just the call for wisdom.
Yeah.
Because this is they're in godly wisdom, because there is no playbook, like I mentioned. There's no one knows what they're doing. And so we're seeking God continually. Like, what do we do? God, give us guidance, help us navigate this. So, but yeah, all the things that you said, and just additional prayers for wisdom, and excited to see people again.
Oh man.
I'm going to start publishing when I'm going to be at the grocery store, so people can just come out and hang out with me at the grocery store.
Yeah. Well, it was really cool to see last night the graduation ceremony, right? And just to see people just over the moon, see each other.
Yeah.
We've had, I won't name names, but we had a staff member that, what did they say? They were acting like a golden retriever running around. They were so happy.
They were so excited.
To see people. So that was really cool to see. So we're really pumped about it. So stay tuned, and we'll do the best we can to get information out.
Perfect.
So thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for bearing with us. We hope you guys got some good, valuable content out of this. And maybe we'll do it again.
I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
In a couple of days, we've had 4 views.
If you like it, if you like it, shoot me an email, mferrulli@lakesawyerchurch.org. If you don't like it, send an email to adarcy@lakesawyerchurch.org.
It's fine.
So I don't have to hear it.
It's fine. I got your back.
Thank you.
I got your back. I'm just going to reply with a thumbs up emoji.
Just emojis everywhere.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And we hope this has been beneficial for you. I know it's been beneficial for us to even talk about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Great.
Talk to you later. Bye.